What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. So the first couple episodes of Commandos has dropped on Max pretty significantly. This is more than just another DC animated show. This is actually the first show, I guess, technically set in the DCU. If you watch the show, without giving away any spoilers, there are some references and callbacks to Peacemaker and 2021's The Suicide Squad, the James Gunn one, obviously. But, you know, by technicality, this is like the first actual show that is going to be kind of kickstarting this new era of the DCU, so to speak. And all this to say, before I get started, this won't be so much a review of the first couple episodes. I'll give my thoughts on them here in just a second, but this isn't going to be kind of an in-depth analysis of the first couple episodes. I'll give a full review of the series when it drops in a few weeks, but this is really going to be a comparison of what I think this means for the DCU moving forward, the ramifications, the things I'm kind of worried about, that maybe this show kind of either puts to rest or kind of raises my fears. There's some in both categories in this. But starting off with what I thought of the first couple episodes, and again, this will be completely spoiler-free and just a very quick overview to get onto our main topic, but I really enjoyed it. I think the show was really fantastic. The animation's great, very much a callback to a lot of the DC animated direct-to-video movies that are really great that a lot of people sleep on or haven't even seen outside of like the hardcore fan base. But I highly recommend checking a lot of those out. But yeah, the animation is very much in that vein, but it's very crisp, very amazing. The action is brutal. There's not a ton of action in these first couple episodes, but the stuff we do get goes really hard. The music does a great job complementing the action scenes, like a lot of James Gunn projects have a tendency to do. The voice acting across the board is fantastic, from Frank Grillo as Rick Flag Sr., and really just everybody. Weasel's a really hilarious character as well. He doesn't get a ton to do in these first few episodes, but he's just a lot of fun, and a lot of the visual gags come from him. Dr. Phosphorus I also thought was really great as well. He's probably one of my favorite ones, aside from G.I. Robot, who I just think is funny. Like, he calls everybody a 1940s German, basically. I don't know how YouTube feels about that certain word, but you know, it's really funny, really James Gunn humor, very much so in the same vein of Guardians or the Suicide Squad. So I think if you like either of those projects, which most people do, I think you'll definitely enjoy this show. But yeah, that's going to be all that I kind of say about those first couple episodes for now. I really just want to get into my main topic, my main point of making this video, and to that's really going to be how I feel like this kind of both raises some concerns and alleviates some concerns about James Gunn's new DC universe. And starting off with, I think really what kind of does concern me about James Gunn's DCU, and I do want to say anything else, I am a huge Gunn fan. I mean, I've loved everything he's done in the comic book realm. The Guardian films are great, Suicide Squad's great, Peacemaker's really fun as well. So I'm not coming at this as like a James Gunn hater or somebody wanting to see the DCU fail, but these are just more observations or critiques that you can say that I have, that I'm really hoping, honestly, and I think will end up getting pushed away in a few years. But for now, these are just my observations based off what I've seen of James Gunn and what I know his slate is going to be. And one of the biggest things that comes off to me is the Superman movie in 2025 that's written, directed, produced, everything by James Gunn. On the one hand, I do give James Gunn absolute credit where credit's due. He knows what an important film this is. This might be one of the most important DC films since Batman v Superman in terms of where the direction of this franchise is going to go. I do think that James Gunn knows how to write characters that make just everybody fall in love with them. I mean, look at Rocket Raccoon, look at Polka Dot Man, look at all of these characters, Peacemaker even, these characters that like no one had heard of before, even characters that might be more mean-spirited, but he can just make you fall in love with a talking tree, again, Polka Dot Man, just any and every character just has their charm, their charisma, and I think that's what he does really well. So if he can do that with these like third, fourth, fifth tier characters, then he should have no problem whatsoever doing that with arguably the most popular superhero ever. Where my worry does come in, however, is going to be in the fact that Superman is very much a character that I don't think fits into what we've seen James Gunn do. It's not to say that he can't do it, and I have really cautious optimism that he will be able to pull this off. Because the one thing about James Gunn is that he does seem to actually be very active on social media, unlike Kevin Feige, who doesn't have a big social media presence, if any, and really anything we hear about the MCU from him is from like world premieres, press interviews, stuff like that. But whereas with James Gunn, he's much more along the lines of a guy who has a social media presence. Similar to Feige, though, he does know the lore. I think he even said that he prefers DC to Marvel. So he knows the characters. He knows what I think a lot of fans are going to want in this upcoming Superman film. So while I do have faith that it's not going to be this way, I am a bit worried that of two things. One, that it's going to be James Gunnified. That, you know, naturally we're going to have James Gunn's brand of humor, of music, all that works well in the projects that he's done, but not necessarily stuff that I really want to see in the new and upcoming DCU, or the DCU Superman, I should say. I do think that Superman, having a lighthearted Superman, one that really goes back to the roots while also feeling very modern, something that I think the Superman and Lois show has done really well these past few years on the CW. So I think something in that vein could be really good, but I don't need like a quippy Superman. I don't even need him to have like Mr. Terrific that maybe is like going to be the source of comedy or whatever. I don't really want that. Neither do I want him like beating up bad guys to classic pop music or whatever. I don't need that, and I don't think a lot of fans really want that. And again, I don't think it's something that he'll do, but it is a concern that I have until I'm proven otherwise, if that makes sense, just because that's all I've seen of James Gunn. And I think it leads to, and I'm going to go ahead and talk about my next thing about concerning this, and it's the slate of DCU projects. Now, I'm super excited for Lanterns. I'm interested in projects like Booster Gold, and apparently they recently greenlit a Huntress film, which is really cool. I'm excited about all of that, but the one thing that does worry me about this is that these seem very much so like projects James Gunn wants, more so than the projects that maybe the DCU needs. And again, I could be completely wrong about this, but just looking at Creature Commandos, that is really kind of the Iron Man, so to speak, for this new DCU. Why is this the first project? Like, Superman being the first real official project or whatever, as James Gunn puts it, and, you know, a lot more people are going to see Superman than Creature Commandos. But still, having this be what kicks off the main DCU technically, it just seems a little weird. I don't know why you would start with that. And again, I'm not hating. I love this show. Y'all should definitely go check it out. It's a lot of fun. Very enjoyable. But I also don't understand why you would feel the need to make this, like, rush this project out to be your very first project. And judging from some of the dialogue in that show, again, it looks like the Suicide Squad and Peacemaker, at least certain elements, are going to be canon, which I think is what James Gunn said himself. Like, not everything, but some things are going to be canon. And I don't know, just thinking about it makes me kind of wonder, like, why are we starting the DCU with these projects before you really get to the meat and the, you know, the substance of the DCU? I mean, we should have Superman, we should have Batman, we should have Flash, Green Lantern, build these characters up and then put them together in a Justice League movie. But as of now, there's no Justice League movie even confirmed. And, you know, again, I think James Gunn would probably do a great job with the Justice League film, if I'm being honest. But yeah, like, I don't know if a Booster Gold movie is something that we really need early on in Phase 1, Chapter 1 of the DCU. I think it's called Gods and Monsters. Swamp Thing could fit in that maybe well to an extent. But, and I know we're getting like Themyscira, but that just brings up more questions. Like, is this a prequel? I don't even know if Diana Prince is in this show, or is going to be in the show or not. Apparently it's about the women before Diana or whatever, like this battle or war that breaks out, which again sounds really awesome, but I don't know if it's what the DCU needs immediately in terms of an actual universe building concept. So I say all that to say that I'm a little concerned, because even a year or two ago when James Gunn put out his video dropping this whole slate, it wasn't, this is the film that I think could be the best for the franchise, so much as we're doing Batman the Brave and the Bold because it has my favorite Robin, Damian Wayne. Well, Damian Wayne, for comic book fans, there's like at least 2 or 3 other Robins before you get to him. I mean, there's obviously Dick Grayson, there's obviously like Jason Todd, some of these other ones you could play around with. So it just seems like and again, he's looking for older Hal Jordan actors, older Batman actors, reportedly. So I don't know why we're starting. Like, it is a cool idea, don't get me wrong, to start the DCU and have, this kind of just being like the MCU, where it was really kind of baby steps, where it's like Iron Man, Hulk, Thor, Captain America, you flesh out the MCU kind of from within. I like the idea to a certain degree that we're starting the DCU just kind of hitting the ground running, kind of throwing us in there. Like if you've seen the DC animated movie universe, it started with Flashpoint and ended with Apocalypse War. Kind of like what they did there. But yeah, I just don't know how I'm going to feel about these very Gunn-like projects. Like, are they going to be great? I'm sure a lot of them will be. They're probably going to be a lot of fun. And again, there's stuff that James Gunn does really well, though I also realize he's not directing like every single one of these projects. So, it's really going to come down to how much creative vision I think he's actually going to let these creatives have. Like, how much creative vision is he going to let the director of Swamp Thing have? Or how much creative vision is he going to let the writers of Booster Gold have? All of those things, I think, are really going to come down to how much freedom he has. And he's even said he's not interested in micromanaging the DCU, which I think is great. So, again, these are just thoughts I have. I do think watching Creature Commandos that even if a lot of these projects don't build out the world very well, I mean, I've always said at the end of the day, I'd rather have a really great standalone comic book project than one that's uber connected to a wider universe. I think a good example of that would be The Dark Knight being probably my favorite film of all time, and many, including myself, would call it the greatest comic book film. And it's completely standalone, whereas Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, that literally existed, or did exist at least, to bring Kang in as this new big bad and kind of set the MCU on its new path forward leading up to the Avengers, and that movie wasn't all that great, if we're just being honest. So, it's just one of those things to where I sit there and I'm like, it really is just going to come down, I think, to the next couple years. I have Superman, though, will be the biggest thing for me. Like, if Superman releases and it's great, then I'm going to be like, okay, you know what, he's captured the tone, the atmosphere. David Cornsweet has given a great performance as Superman. It looks like the DCU's on the right track. Then, I think if we can get through like Superman and Batman the Brave and the Bold, we're going to be set. So, and I'm sure he's going to change this up. Like, what's to stop James Gunn from changing it up to where Damian Wayne will be the first Robin in this universe? And nothing really. But again, these are just observations that I have. But I do have faith that a lot of the DCU, if it really keeps up the energy of Creature Commandos or even other Gunn projects like Peacemaker, I think they'll be a lot of fun. I do think it's going to get, for the most part, the hype train back. I just hope he doesn't overdo it and kind of become like the MCU with that same kind of formula, comedic edge. It's fine once in a while, and it does work, again, with stuff like Creature Commandos, so that I think is fantastic. But it also needs to be in the right context, and that's something that I'm really hoping that we're going to see down the road. But anyways, guys, that's just my thoughts on the DCU as a whole and my quick reaction to Creature Commandos. Again, in a few weeks, once all the episodes drop, I'm going to have a full review, maybe spoiler-free. I'm not really sure yet. Just depends on how easy it's going to be to give a spoiler-free review of this show or not. But I will definitely be dropping a review of the full show in the coming weeks once it all airs. But yeah, these are just my thoughts on the DCU. Just thought it'd be a great time to sit down with you guys, talk about my thoughts, predictions. But most importantly, let me know in the comments down below what you all think. And are you excited for the DCU? Are you a little nervous like me about it, but also kind of cautiously optimistic? Or do you just want Zack Snyder back, which is totally okay too? Whatever it is, just let me know in the comments down below. And as always, please be sure to like, subscribe, comment, and share this video, and I will catch you all later. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to watch this video. If you liked what you've seen here and you want to see more, please feel free to like, subscribe, share, and check out my other videos in the link in the description down below, and I will see you all later.